Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will be reading from chapter 18, starting on text 65. Page 833 in the big book. Sarvaguyatam hambuya shrenu me paramam vachaha ishto sime dridhamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. Oh, 65. My bad. 18? Yeah, I just read 64 by accident. Yeah. You got it. Text 65. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam vaishyasi satyam te pratijane prihosi me. Translation. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Text 66. Sarvadharman parityajya mamakam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shuchaha. Translation. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Text 67. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushaveh vakjam na cha mam yobhyasu yati. Translation. This confidential knowledge may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Text 68. Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhaktesh vabidasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishyatya samshayaha. Translation. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. Text 69. Nachatasma manushyashu kashchin me priyakritamaha bhavita nacha me tasmad hanya priyataro bhuve. Translation. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Text 70. Adyashyate chayai mam dharmyam samvadam avayo jnana yakya tenaham ishtasyamiti me matihi. Translation. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. Text 71. Shraddhavan nanusuyascha shrunuyadapinyo naraha sopi mukta subalokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. Translation. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reaction and attains to the planets where the pious dwell. Text 72. Kachchit itach trutam partha tvayaka grena cetasa kachchit agyana samohaha pranashtaste dhananjaya. Translation. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, have you heard this attentively with your mind? And are your illusions and ignorance now dispelled? Text 73. Arjuna uvacha nashto mohasmitir labda tvat prasadan mayachita stitosmi gata sandehaha karishye vachanam tava. Translation. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Text 74. Sanjaya uvacha ityaham vasudevasya partasya cha mahatmanaha samvadam imam ashrosham abhutam romaharshanam. Translation. Sanjaya said, Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. Text 75. Vyasa prasadat shrutavam etad guyamaham param yogam yogeshvarat krishnat sakshat katayata swayam. Translation. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. You read 10 or 11 verses. 10. Okay. So we'll go back to text 65 then. Translation. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you'll come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of Him and act for Him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he became a dear friend to Krishna and obtained the same... This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on the original form of Godhead, Krishna. He should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi-forms, as Vishnu, Narayan, Rama, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's. Maharaj, we would love to hear your comments.
Prabhupada is presenting it very directly here. And that's because Krishna presented it like that. The words are not that Prabhupada has bolstered them or constructed them differently so they would ring out so starkly. It's just that that's why Krishna intended. He's on the battlefield, and his dear friend Arjuna is about to leave the battlefield at a time when it will make a difference between the whole battle. So if Arjuna leaves, that's one side Krishna's taking, that side. And if you leave, it'll be a very, very great mistake. And this idea of Sharanagati, that word Sharanagati is used in this text, 66. See, Charanam, surrender. Some of those who are speaking, I'd like to find another word for surrender, because surrender has a somewhat of a negative attitude or connotation to some. And it may. A surrender sounds like you're giving up almost your individuality. You do whatever the other person says, without question, give that impression. So they were trying to think of something where it would be less demanding. It's pretty difficult to be less demanding because if you take, for example, the word surrender is used often on the battlefield. One party is they put the white flag. They start waving the white flag. That means I surrender. You don't kill me, I'll do whatever you say. That's the meaning of the white flag. And that type of surrender no one likes to do. Of course, it's the last choice. Last option. I tried fighting with this method. Couldn't do it. Now if we fight him, we're all going to be destroyed here. So we just surrender. So that's something negative. But imagine if the other party was very magnanimous, and when you surrender to them, they'll give you protection, they'll spare your life, that's for sure, give you protection, they'll engage you in the right activities. For example, Yudhishthira, surrendering to Yudhishthira from the other side wouldn't be a bad thing. Better than working for Duryodhana. So surrender has that connotation, but in the sweet surrender, where one voluntarily gives up everything to the other part because he really has confidence. The other party knows what's better for him. The other party knows better. And by surrendering, I'm doing the best thing. I'm doing the best possible thing I could do. Because the other party is so great. And that's the implication here. The only one who can really demand surrender like this is Krishna. Unadulterated, unconditional. That conditional, we use that word a lot. Unconditional service. Well, the conditional service means he's willing to serve under certain conditions. But ahoy tukya pratiyata, uninterrupted, unmotivated, there's no conditions. That's what Krishna wants. And it means complete trust. And why not trust Krishna? There's no power that can overcome him. There's no intelligence that is greater than his. There's no opulence. There's no kindness better than his. There's no beauty superior to it. You just go through the list. So then why not surrender? Why would you not? It would be some kind of insanity not to surrender to him. Because if we don't surrender to Krishna, we're going to have to surrender to someone. And who will it be? Someone lesser, someone less qualified. And certainly not one person. Even if you thought, well, I can find somebody who's powerful like you, someone beautiful. But to find one person that has it all, and it's anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karmajanavrita. He's pure devotional service means that one has no activity. He doesn't perform any activities for fruitive results or that are in the category of speculation. Jnana karmajana. So that's what Rupa Goswami describes as pure devotional service. And that's what Krishna is demanding. And that's the most confidential part of knowledge. And even more confidential is that it should be to Krishna exclusively. Even the other forms are being put aside. Lakshmi Narayan or Vishnu, Lord Chaitanya, the six Goswamis, Rupa and Sanatana, they tried to convince their brother, Anupam. He was also a devotee, but he was a devotee of Ramachandra, Sitaram. And they preached to him really strongly. They said, why don't you worship Radha Krishna? But us, we're worshiping Radha, you should also. So he said, okay, tomorrow I'll do it. The whole night he stayed up, he couldn't sleep 1 second. And he apologized the next morning. He said, I'm sorry, I can't do that, I just can't give up my attachment for Sitaram. Even though he knew Lord Chaitanya was Lord Ramachandra, he knew he's Krishna. That's another thing. Krishna also accepts that. But this knowledge that he's giving, that's what Rupa Goswami is giving. That worship Radha and Krishna, that's the best. That's the most confident. This form of Krishna with two hands. They're all expansions of Krishna. So in that sense, there's no inequality there. But still, he's the original and most extraordinary, desirable form.
Thank you, Maharaj. Start by asking for your grace and tolerance as we explore this wonderful section of the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe I can say something nice about Krishna. So this is the idea, but thank you for being here. I really liked what Maharaj had to say about the connotations that come with the word surrender. Sharanam. This is not very ideal for the false ego, who is perpetually placing himself above everyone else. This is at least my experience. So the idea that there's a higher power, it's very alarming to the false ego. But the surrender is, in my little realization that I have, is everything that's divine is paradoxical and even sometimes seemingly contradictive. So this very thing that's surrender is actually our ticket to a place of peace and knowledge, and this is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. We're here in the conclusion, 18th chapter, where Krishna is making it really simple for Arjuna. He's highlighting again, he's repeated himself throughout this whole conversation again and again and again and again and again. And these two texts, this one that we've just read, 65 and 66, these are maybe the most important verses in the whole conversation from what I can gather, because these two verses by themselves, if one has even a little ounce of realization, these two verses, to understand them, can take you right back to Godhead. So, once again, thank you for the opportunity to speak on them. I don't have so much realization, but let's take a look at the purport again. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. This is starting pretty strong. Prabhupada said that we should always be thinking of Krishna. This seems like a very difficult thing. I know it's a bit bewildering for someone like myself who, the condition of my mind, this conditioned nature, it's all over the place. But we hear that to become a pure devotee, that's what's required of us. We see this practically in chapter 3, Karma Yoga, I think it's called. And Krishna says, Maya sarvani karmani sanyasyathyatma cetasa nirasya nirmamo bhutva yudasva vigatajvaraha. He says, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering your works unto me, with mind intent on me, and without desire from gain, free from egoism and lethargy, fight. So this is practically what it looks like to always think of Krishna, and to actually, this process of surrendering, that's what it looks like. It's free from desire, from fruitive actions, from without feverish mentality, vigataj varaha. And it's our mind intent on him. Within that purport of chapter 3, verse 30, Prabhupada makes a really nice point. He says, I can't remember verbatim, but he says, Arjuna had not to consider the instructions. He had only to act. This is a really nice point that I like. This is my favorite verse of the whole Gita, 330, because someone like myself who has such a hard time surrendering, it's rendered very easily through this idea of not having to question. It's our unfortunate position that we question every single thing that we're told to do, despite time and time again seeing the immense care and mercy that the devotees have to try to lift us up into a place of knowledge. So, to not, and this is something we see in the next verse. Kind of jumping ahead here. I'd like to read this whole purport, but while I'm thinking about this point, the verse is, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. The very end of this purport, Prabhupada makes a wonderful this idea that we don't need to fear, we don't need to worry, we don't need to hesitate. Prabhupada says at the end of 66 purport, the particular words here, ma shuchaha, are very significant, because one may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender. But such worry is useless. This worry, it just holds us up. Keeps us in the line of fire, and yeah, it's something that we need to abandon. This reluctance that we have to surrender, we must throw it off. And when we throw off this reluctance, we can take shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and this is how we actually take back our intelligence. It's become so contaminated. When we have a contaminated intelligence, we're no good. Every move that we make is actually sabotaging the highest good for ourselves, which is going back to Krishna.
We consider every single point that we do, every act, every thought. If we are really wishing to analyze it carefully, we'll see that Krishna has a much better way how to do everything. Every single thing, every thought, every act. So after a while it gets ridiculous to keep going on testing. Now rewind, you already tested. He's proven, just by writing Bhagavad Gita, speaking Bhagavad Gita, that should be enough proof. Anyone who doesn't accept that Krishna knows more than us, that Krishna knows the philosophy of spiritual knowledge more than us, that Krishna is more moral than we are, Krishna is more forgiving. If we can't see that, then we're not sincere, and then we're foolish. That's what Krishna says. That if you don't surrender to me, if you have doubts, having doubts in Krishna, it just means you're not sincere, you're not understanding. Something's wrong with you, me. We're the ones who are... There's nothing wrong with Krishna. Those doubts we have are just faulty. There's no reason for those doubts. Why doubt Krishna? Why not doubt someone else? Like our scientists, they're good ones to doubt. Or our politicians, or our so-called leaders. We can doubt them. We can doubt our schools, we can doubt any. Why doubt Krishna? He's proven himself in so many ways.
I'd like to pick back up at the purport of 65. I think it'd be good to reread this whole thing, so bear with me. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. If we're ever having any doubts about the program, Srila Prabhupada's program, this is a great purport, I'm realizing, to understand why it is that we do the things that we do. Because, I mean, if I'm being honest, amidst this fantastic program that is meant to keep us engaged and is successful if one just sticks it out and holds his post. But even amidst, such wonderful association, everything in the temple being transcendental but myself, I still find ways to deviate. As Maharaj is kind of speaking about how Krishna consciousness, it's simple for the simple. Krishna, he takes care of everything. And the shelter is really desirable to, if we can actually take shelter, then, what do we have to worry about? What do we have to, fear? Absolutely nothing, So, just imagine if we didn't have the program, If I'm here doing 16 rounds a day and, still struggling with Maya, then it only speaks to the situation that I was in before I was here. So no chance without the devotees, without Srila Prabhupada's program. So there's a lot of mercy here. One should not become an official meditator. This is something I had a lot of past experience with, trying to officially meditate, sit there and, om, and, find peace in such ways as this. But what's so incredible about this treasure of Bhakti Yoga is that we're not trying to become official meditators. We're trying to become unofficial meditators. There's no spontaneity with sitting down and fixing your mind upon some sort of bright light, or impersonally trying to know God, or that energy, basking in that energy of being one with all of life. This is completely undesirable for the devotee because they have a higher level of knowledge that they're developing, in that we can have a direct relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and he'll reciprocate with us in such a way that enables us to be spontaneously serving him in our proper position of eternality, knowledge, and bliss. So this isn't where we're at, but we can understand that this is the means. This is the end. This is like the desired result of this Vaidhi Bhakti that we practice with the rules and regulations. It's not to just it's not to. This isn't a temporary designation, but it's the only thing, following these rules and regulations, these yamas and niyamas, it's the only thing that's going to bring us this desired result of being an unofficial meditator of the Lord. So that's just a thought. Also, at any given time, if you guys have any questions or comments, please know that they're very valued. Yeah.
Thank you. So my question is, so I was basically you were saying that if we do surrender, then we have peace. So I'm just wondering, like, how do we know that when do we know when something is our service and that we should surrender to that service?
Well, like opened up a door of thought, so maybe I can speak upon that. Maybe it helps indirectly answer the question. It's a very nice question. Thank you for asking it, Prabhu. So yesterday I was watching a class that Magadhari Prabhu gave in LA, and he was speaking about how, we can be surrendering to the process of devotional service, and we can still feel that like something's right. I don't have that peace. I'm not blissed out like I should be. Like, what's going on? And I asked a question yesterday. Krishna Shravana quoted Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada, talking about how when the spiritual master is happy, Krishna is happy. And accepted it as it was. This goes to show that, like, yeah, Guru works in like mysterious ways, and we can't claim to trust, and we should trust that it's ultimately for our highest good. So I liked that. I'm running out of time, and I'm still in the first verse. So maybe we can read the text 66 real quick, because it's very nice. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Purport. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge, processes of religion, knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Super Soul, knowledge of the different types of orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many different ways types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reaction. The Lord personally promises to protect him. Very nice. So this relationship that we have with the Lord, being part and parcel of him, is not relative to time, place, or circumstance. It goes above and beyond that, and we can see that religion, it burns out over time. But what doesn't burn out is the eternal religion, which is Sanatana Dharma, this understanding that we're eternally servitors of the Lord, and when we're serving the Lord in our proper position, it's blissful. You receive causeless knowledge for all of eternity. I mean, and those who go back to Krishna, they remain there. They never have to descend here again. So, I mean, this is the supreme occupation. Savaipum samparo dharmo. Yato bhakti ardho shaje ahaitu yapratiyata yayama supersidati. The supreme occupation for humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So this is what everyone's after, is to completely satisfy their self forever, in ways that we can't even begin to understand. And we look for this in such frivolous and temporary ways that just, it's not even like that they're neutral, they're actually like degrading. They actually hurt us in the ways that we search for this type of satisfaction. It actually hurts us. And in one sense, we can never really move further away from the Lord. But in another way, it does kind of push us further away from that realization that, He's there with us, within our heart and without, as all of creation emanates from Him. So, thank you for listening. Maybe if there's a question, I can answer a question real quick. Yes?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So it says, it kind of explains how we can surrender, but I was thinking maybe you could maybe speak on this process of surrendering. I heard yesterday that it's not something that you just kind of like flick on and off. You just like say like, okay, Krishna, I'm surrendered, and so like it's just happening, and it's a process. But there's got to be some things, some things I'm doing along the way, and maybe you can speak on some of those things. Yeah,
this is something that Krishna was speaking about last night, how it kind of comes in intervals. We hit this wall. You can visualize we hit this wall within our devotional life, and we kind of maybe bounce back a little bit. And, it takes us to really bear down and, surrender to pray, to humble ourselves, to allow ourselves to be humbled. To make any type of progress through that barrier that's holding us up, and then it's only a matter of time before we inevitably hit something else. We have so much conditioning. This is something I think about when I chant a lot. So I think about how every time I take a step towards Krishna, he takes one step closer towards me. And practically I see this in just how spaced out I am when I chant. I'll be chanting and very easily, like a boat that's swept away by the wind, even one of our senses can carry away the intelligence of the mind, or carry away the mind. The man's intelligence gets swept away easy, like a boat on the water. So I view it's inevitable that we'll kind of fall from center as we're chanting. But each time that we can bring ourselves back to center, it's like we're choosing Krishna in that moment. We're choosing him, and he likes this. He is aware that this is where we're at, and this is our motivation, is to better know him, to choose him. So he takes a step closer, and sometimes I wonder why it feels like I'm not getting any closer to him, with how often my mind digresses, and with how often I'm trying to set my mind back on him. But I think that only just speaks to how far away I am from him. It's like I'm taking steps towards him, but at my very slow rate. It feels like I'm not moving at all, but I am. It speaks to how far it is that I am away from him. So what does surrendering what does that look like? Looks like understanding that I'm not in control. I'm not the supreme controller. It looks like meditating on his form within our heart. It looks like understanding that my real happiness and the perfection of my life is to serve his devotees. These are some things that come to mind. But let's hear from Krishna too, and then let's break.
Yeah, I'll keep it real short. If one wants to know what surrender looks like, there's a chapter in the Nectar of Devotion called The Limbs of Bhakti. One can refer there and get a very clear picture. But it all starts with accepting a spiritual master.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki